find the solutions to 2 cosine squared x plus 3 cosine x plus 1 is equal to 0. And we want to find the solutions only from 0 to 2 pi. All right, so we do see a squared trig function and just a trig function here, cosine x, cosine squared x. So this equation looks a little bit interesting, right? But whenever we see a square, we should always think of the x squared or the quadratic functions. Okay, so we call this quadratic in form. Okay, so let's let cosine of x equal some other variable. Let's just use, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, like t. Okay, so then that, this is going to equal t. This is going to equal t squared here, right? So for example, 2t squared plus 3t plus 1 equals 0. And oh, wait a minute, this is a quadratic function, right? How do we solve quadratic functions of this type? And mainly we use factoring. And in this case, this is factorable, right? 2t plus 1 times 2t plus 1 is equal to 0. Now, whenever we solve quadratic equations by factoring, we set each factor equal to 0. So 2t plus 1 equals 0. And this should just be a t, right? Sorry about that. Just a t there. And then t plus 1 equals 0. So t plus 1 equals 0. And then we just solve for t, right? So 2t is equal to negative 1. So t is equal to negative 1/2. And here, t is equal to negative 1. You got to remember, this is not the answer, right? Negative 1/2 and negative 1 is not the answer. Okay? That's because we sort of converted this into a quadratic type, right? But remember, what does t equal? T equals cosine of x. So really, what we're trying to solve is, where does cosine of x equal negative 1/2? And where does cosine of x equal negative 1? So we did a transformation just to make this a little bit easier, because we see that it's a quadratic type equation. We solved the quadratic equation, but then at the very end, right, make sure you go back and actually solve for that trig function. Okay. Well, okay, wait a minute. Where does cosine equal 1/2? We know that on the unit circle, right, x is going to, in this case, the angle is going to equal 2 pi over 3. And also at 4 pi over 3. And then where does cosine equal negative 1? Well, that's going to be at pi, right? So in this case, we're going to have 3 solutions, right? Our answer is going to be 2 pi over 3, right? 4 pi over 3, and pi. Remember, these are solutions because if we plug these back into the original problem, okay, then, and do all the math, right? Plug in the values, work everything out, okay, the left side should equal the right side. So these 3 are the solutions.